Good day, my esteemed students of Abeokuta Grammar School Senior. My name is Adebeshi GAA. I'm your English literature teacher or literature and English language teacher. I'm your literature and English language literature and English language teacher. I will be on this platform for this online program for a while, thanks to the distancing of COVID-19 and the ingenuity of our school management for coming up with this device so that we can still interact even at distance. We thank God for that. Most of the things we shall be doing today are things that you have been taught before. But in order not to get your brain rusty, we will need to refresh our brains, our minds, and get going so that when the exam comes, we'll have something good to write down. Today, we are going to dwell on the general knowledge aspect of literature in English. In that sense, we are going to go into some of the introductory topics in the general knowledge aspect. And this includes defining what literature is, explaining it, talking about the genres of literature, the types of literature that we have, the classification of the various genres, that is, into fiction and non-fiction and the likes. So, let us set the ball rolling. First and foremost, to revise and refresh our minds. What do we mean by literature? I know you know it, and I can bet many of you will say different things that will go for it. But for the purpose of this class, let us begin by saying that literature is the study of life. Yes, I know they will define science as the study of life as well. Yes, science is the study of life, but literature is more of study of life than even science itself. Because practically, literature deals with everything about man and nature. Ask me, literature can as well be described as the mirror of life as well. Why do we say that? Because it is the recreation of every realities of life that are now recreated imaginatively into drama, into prose, which is storytelling, and into poetry, which is the study of poem. If you are to define literature generally, every written or printed material on any topic whatsoever in this world can be regarded as literature. That is the more reason when you buy phones, you buy refrigerator, you buy television, you buy any device, you see a manual inside. That manual is basically telling you everything you need to know about the device you have bought. Even if there were to be a proper arrangement by the creation of God to man, God should have given us a manual for our life. And that, I think, is what the Quran and the Bible is all about. So, when you look at the Quran and the Bible, you can as well say they are the literature of life. So, when we say that literature is about anything that is printed, published, or written on any topic, we are right. But when we are talking about literature in English, what do we mean by literature in English? It is basically the subject that we are talking about. The subject of literature, which is written in English language for everybody to read, understand, enjoy, to relax with, to entertain with, to get educated with. One basic good thing about literature is that it is the only subject on earth that you can find all other fields functioning. You can find medicine in literature. You can find pharmacy in literature. You can find pharmacology in literature. You can find economics in literature. You find politics. You find accident. You find war. You find divorce. You find marriage. Everything about life, about human beings, about people, about culture, about custom, about tradition, about festival, about rituals are found in literature. Because thanks to the creativity and imagination of literary artists, every reality of life is recreated. Literature can talk about the present, it can talk about the past, and it can forecast into the future. That is the essence of why we have literature. Now, how do we define literature on that platform? The literature in English that we are talking about, that we study in school, that we study in secondary, primary, and tertiary institution, is the subject of books that are written either as drama, as prose, or poetry, which are created imaginatively. I'm not saying that all other writings are not imaginative or they are not creative. Every writing, every write-up is creative and imaginative. But literature is more creative and more imaginative because it is recasting the reality of life into drama, into story, and into poetry. There is often a mix-up in the use of the word literature in English and English literature. Literature in English, like I said earlier on, is that subject that is studied in school. When you write or read books on drama, on prose, or poetry, whereas English literature suggests the origin or the genesis of a particular literary work of art. Hence, as we have English literature, we can say we have American literature, we have Hausa literature, we have Yoruba literature, we have German literature, we have Swedish literature. So, when we are talking about literature in English versus English literature, one is the subject that includes all literary work of art, drama, prose, poetry, written in English language, irrespective of the origin, the tribe, or the race of the writer, but which are subject to be studied in schools generally. Whereas, when you are talking about English literature, you are making reference to those forms of literature that are basically originating from the British Isles, basically about the history, the people, the culture, the tradition of the English-speaking people. So, that is settled. Now, what are the sources of literature? What are the sources of literature? What are the sources of literature that we have? From the earliest time, literature can be found to be written or oral. In fact, the earliest form of literature is oral literature. Most of the things that we begin to learn today as written form of literature started in oral form. In most of our traditional home setting, there is something we call panegyric. In the Yoruba parlance, it's called oriki. Oriki are handed down from generation to generation. It is never written down particularly, right? We have so many stories about tortoise and its unintelligible pranks, which are mostly told by our parents, our forefathers, our grandmothers. When we gather together under the moonlight, we call it moonlight tales. We have village square gathering where people dramatize. We have folklores, songs that are traditional songs that are peculiar to tribe, to race, to clan, to folks, which are sing all over, depending on the tribe, depending on the clan, depending on the town, depending on the history, the culture, and the tradition of the people. We have legends. We have folk tales. We have folklores. We have legends. We have myths. We have festivals. We have dances. We have rituals. And so on, to mention a few about the sources of literature. Literature did not just emerge on a single day. Like I was saying, it is a function of what has happened in the past, function of what is happening presently, and function of what can happen even in the future. So, as literature is peculiar and relevant to the present, so it could also be relevant to the future. Now, I will talk about the sources of literature. I mentioned folk tales, I mentioned folklore, I mentioned legends, myths, festivals, dances, rituals, to mention a few. Let us talk about the broad division of literature. Literature, like I said, has two types. We have the oral and the written form of literature. But when we are talking about broad demarcation, broad classification, literature is broadly divided into three major areas. We have the drama, we have the prose, and we have the poetry. These three broad categorization of literature is regarded as the three genres of literature. It is these three areas of literature that come together to form what we study in school today as literature in English. And each and every one of them has its own peculiar features. For example, let's talk quickly about drama. Drama is the liveliest of all the three forms of literature. What do I say? I said drama is the liveliest. The liveliest. Liveliest is the most interactive, the most enjoyable, the most interesting, and the most enjoyable of the three forms of literature. Drama makes use of action and dialogue to tell a story. Before you can have a drama performed, there must be a story. When you have the storyline, the playwright now ascribe characters to that drama. You are going to be character A, you are going to be character B, you are going to be character C. And he now put words into their mouth. The words the playwright put into the character's mouth is what is known as dialogue. And the various characters now come on stage to perform their individual roles. In drama, you have so many technical words or technical concepts or jargons or terms that are peculiar to drama. In drama, you have words like theater, stage, lighting, cast, stage director. You have protagonist, antagonist, villain, and so on and so forth. But the most peculiar distinguishing factor or feature that drama has is the fact that it uses action and dialogue to tell a story. And it is the liveliest of all the three forms of literature. Apart from that, drama could be in form of a film, it could be in form of a video, it could be in form of a stage play, where it is a live performance in theater, in village square, where people go and watch. It could be free of charge, it could be a fee-paying film. Drama has even been taken into our individual homes. That is why we have video players in our homes today, and we have video machines that replicate dramas of us to us. In fact, we have watched certain films on our television in the house that we almost want to believe that it is real. So drama in essence is a make-believe recreation of real-life situation. Apart from drama, we have prose. Prose is another very interesting form of literature. In fact, it is the lengthiest of all the three forms of literature. When I say it is the lengthiest, it is the most prolonged and the most voluminous of all the three forms of literature when it comes to it being published, or printed. Prose is basically narration, or what we call storytelling. And you know, when people are used to talking too much, you'll find people labeling them storyteller. So basically, prose is about storytelling, and it is very, very prolonged. Prose can be broadly divided into two. We have the fictional prose and non-fictional prose. Before I go on to mention the two broad categories of prose that we have, I forgot to mention to you the other time the types of drama that we have. We will still go there and discuss that at length. I know you know that we have so many types of drama. We have the comedy, we have the tragedy, we have the tragicomedy, we have satirical drama, we have historical drama, we have adventures, we have so many types of drama. We'll still come back to it. But talking about the genres of literature, let us quickly highlight the features of prose. Like I said earlier on, prose is the lengthiest. And prose is always presented through words, through sentences, through paragraphs, into chapters, right? And it could be fiction, and it could also be non-fiction. When we talk about fictional prose, we are talking about prose or stories that are imaginatively created. That is, it may not necessarily be a true life story, but there is one thing I always tell you, and I want you to get it straight. There is no literary artist that does drop from the sky. If you saw a literary artist, whatever he recreated into drama, into prose or poetry must have been things that are motivated through the inspiration he got from his immediate environment. If you watch a drama about divorce, about marriage, about killing or murder, it is probably something the writer has experienced before that is now trying to recreate into what you can read, what you can watch as a play, or what you can read as a poem in order to learn one moral lesson or the other from. So when you are talking about a prose being a fiction, it simply means it's a story that is not real, that is just a story imagined or created through the inspiration the writer got from his immediate environment. But we are talking about non-fiction. We are relating to us that such stories are real life stories, true life stories. And we have a number of such stories that people have written. Among such non-fiction stories are stories like autobiography. Autobiography are stories written by the writer himself, about his life, about everything concerning him. While biography is a true life story of somebody written by somebody else. There is also one that we call autobiographical novel. It's almost the same thing as biography, but in autobiographical novel, the writer will create a character to represent himself or herself in the story, and will take himself out of the story. He will not be writing the story like an observer. Example of that is Wole Soyinka's Ake and Chimamanda Adichie's popular discourse, which she wrote about the Nigerian Civil War concerning himself and concerning herself and her family. We have many types of prose that falls into the category of fiction and non-fiction. We have a lot of novels. Novels are story books. We have novel, we have novella, we have novelty. We have non-fiction prose, like the ones I've mentioned. Among them is also diaries, memoirs. Memoir is an account of somebody's stewardship after he has served in public office, and he now wrote about all his experiences in public life situation in a documented form. We have diaries, a day-to-day recording of one's daily activities. These are real life events that happen, so they fall under non-fiction. And such diaries after the death or demise of the writer can be used to collate or write a story about his life. So we are still going to talk broadly about prose, but essentially prose talks basically stories. It is story in narrative form. The next one is the poem, which is known as poetry. The study of poem is what we mean by poetry. It is the most seemingly difficult aspect of literature for many literature students. Why? Because the language of poetry is not as simple and straightforward as the language of drama and language of prose. Poetry is always using high-sounding language, and that is why it is very unique. For example, in the normal prose language, I can say, I am going to Chapon. But if I were to talk it in the poetical language, a poet will say, Chapon, here I come. A poet will want to sound different from a prose writer. And poetry is always scripted or structured in lines. Poetry is always written in line. And poetry can be divided into verses or stanzas. And poetry is not just ordinary prose writing. It could sometimes have what we call rhymes and rhythms. There are times the rhymes and the rhythms are intentionally imputed into the lines of poem in order to give them some kind of sing-song arrangement. For example, look at the popular nursery rhymes. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. You can see that when you recite that poem, there is a kind of sing-song melody that you get, and that's what distinguishes poetry from other forms of the literature that we have. Now, to quickly round up, what are the importance of literature? Literature has so many functions in our society. First and foremost, literature is the easiest way to learn any language in the world. If you want to be versatile, you want to be vast in any language, the first thing is to get literature book written in that language and begin to read. By the time you start reading, no doubt you will become vast in that particular language. Apart from literature being the backbone of any language, literature can entertain. Literature can entertain, and that entertaining function of literature is the broadest of all its functions. You can get entertained through reading a storybook. You can get entertained through watching a video, a film, or going to the theater to watch a live performance of a play. You can get entertained through dances. In fact, music is part of literature. Most of the songs that you listen to today are first and foremost written down in lines by line arrangement before a music director is called into it, who now make an arrangement for sound, drums, guitar, and all other acoustic instruments to be accompanied with that song. It is initially written down as poetry. In fact, literature is so amusing that most of the canonical literature that we have, when I say canonical literature, I mean books, religious books that we have, the Quran and the Bible. If you go into them, you will discover that they are a product of literature. In fact, King Solomon, King David are noted to be the greatest literary artists we ever had in humanity and in history of life. Apart from entertaining function of literature, literature can also educate. In fact, through literature, without having traveled to America, you can virtually know everything that happens in America. Most of the television programs that you have today, the CNN, the Al Jazeera, the BBC, the TBC, TBC Continental Television and the likes, they are byproduct of literature. because it is what literature has turned to that has made the world acceptable and habitable today. The time will not permit us to go on and on and on, but I want to tell you, by the time I come around next, we are going to go into specifics, especially for the SS3 whose exam is about to start. We are going to do a lot of revision in those prescribed tests, and I can assure you it will be a much lively encounter. Thank you. I remain Adebeshi Gani.